I'm Rachel. I create colourful paintings and I make tutorials so that you can learn how to paint them too. In this video I show you the process of how I painted this cute cow in acrylics. This was a really fun painting to create and it's definitely made me want to paint more cows. This is a sped up version of the video, but if you'd like to watch the full length tutorial in real time then just head over to my Patreon, which is Rachel Froud Art, and you can watch the whole video, which is around an hour long. You'll also get access to all of my other full length art tutorials. I started out by painting a blue wash over the whole of the canvas. I watered the paint down so that you can see my pencil lines clearly underneath. Once the wash dried, I painted the background with thicker paint, this time avoiding the areas that were inside the outline of the cow. I used a mix of blue and white paint to paint this background, and I was going for kind of an abstract cloudy sky look. I'm using a large paintbrush for this as I wanted there to be texture and I didn't want to focus too much on the detail. Like usual, I painted this cow in 2 layers. If you have watched any of my other videos, you'll know that I usually paint in layers, and the first layer is often messy and looks very unfinished, but it is actually a really important layer because it essentially works as a map for the whole painting. I mixed up the paint beforehand, and I mixed different shades of paint ranging from dark to light using black, grey, white and blue acrylic paint. I then used this paint to fill in the shadows, midtones and highlights of the cow's face. To paint the white section of the cow's face, I used a mix of white, grey and blue paints, still focusing on the shadows, midtones and highlights, but this time the shadows aren't as dark. I'm still using quite a large paintbrush, as with the first layer the most important thing is to get the paint on the canvas. The details and the texture will come later. To paint the other side of the cow's face, I used the same colours of paints as I did before, and I continued to focus on the shadows and highlights. The darker areas of the cow's face looked quite shiny, so I added a lot of contrast between the lights and darks to give this effect. I used the same colour paints for the cow's ears, adding the darkest shade in the centre of the ear and then using the lighter shades of paint to add the fluffy parts on top. I carried on using the same techniques to paint the body of the cow. I used the same colours as the darker area of the cow's face for the darker areas of the body, and the colours from the white section of the cow's face for the white patches on the body. I mixed up a peachy colour for the cow's nose using a mix of red, white and brown paints. I added white to the peach for the lighter areas of the nose, and I added more brown to the peach for the darker areas. To paint the eyes, I used a mix of black, white and blue paint. I used a smaller paintbrush for the eyes so I could add more detail. They're also quite small in comparison to the size of the canvas, so it's easier to use a small paintbrush for this. I started the second layer on the cow's body. I started on this section as it is behind the head, so the face will be the last section that I paint as it's the furthest forward. For the second layer I used the same colours as I did before, and I just made it neater and added contrast. Adding more contrast really helps to make the cow stand out. I used a smaller paintbrush to add the fur texture to the white section of the cow's face. I used the darker shade to create the shadows of the fur, starting in the centre of the face where the fur almost creates a star shape where it comes out from the centre in all directions. I then followed the direction of the fur to add the shadows in the rest of this section of the face. I used white paint to add highlights to the fur to emphasise the fur texture. I continued to paint the rest of the white section of the face, then I finished the painting by painting the second layer of the rest of the cow's face. I neatened everything up and added extra texture and detail until I was happy with how it looked. I really hope you enjoy watching this video, and as always don't forget to subscribe to see more videos like this.